My operations manager stole $10,000 from me. If you want to know what happened, keep watching. What up, guys? My name's Andrew. I'm a serial entrepreneur, a software engineer, and an ex-junk removal business owner. I started a junk removal business as a stepping stone to return to my passion of technology and apps. I invite you guys to stick around, hang out, and follow me on my journey from recently selling my junk removal business to building a billion-dollar home services app. And that is true. I want to talk about the live virtual junk event followed by the in-person event. This will be a live streaming event that's on my YouTube channel. This is not just going to be any junk removal event. This is going to be the junk removal event of the century, of the decade. Dispatch will be going in beta, so this is going to be a software announcement to let you guys know the software's out, talk about the software, why we're different than everybody else, and why I'm so excited to bring this junk removal software to you guys. It is going to be the CRM, FSM that changes everything. It's going to help you grow, manage, and scale your business. I am very excited to share this software, but what I want to talk about, what else is in this event, guys, is I'm going to be dropping some insane content in this event. It might be just as good as my course, if not better. And I really don't want to stress enough, guys, that you make the live virtual event, because if you make the live virtual event, you are eligible for the giveaway and all of the goodies that I'm going to be giving away. A lot of stuff. One of the things I'm going to be giving away is a brand new dump trailer. Somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 brand new dump trailer, and we're going to give it away live. This is not a sales pitch course. There's nothing to sell. Everything is going to be given for free. And of course, my software, there will be a free trial and all that stuff too. But all the goodies and content, the dump trailer, possibly a truck, for free. No catches, no gimmicks, no nothing. I won't announce the speakers just yet. I'll wait till we get closer. The live event will probably take around 12 p.m. And then the live event will probably be around 4 or 5 p.m. in person in Los Angeles, close to me, where we can all mingle for a few hours, get to know each other, talk, discuss strategies, and just shoot the shit. I hope tons of you make it to the live virtual event. And if you happen to be close by, somewhere in California, I hope you make the in-person event. I'm thinking this is gonna change the home services industry completely, but definitely the junk removal industry. I am very passionate about junk removal because I have been doing it, so this is very close to my heart. So I am going to disrupt the junk removal industry. So please register for the live event so you can be notified, you can get updates, and you don't miss it. It is going to be incredible. All right, guys, today is going to be a video I didn't expect I was ever gonna make. I gotta be sure to make sure that this video is said correctly in the right way, because I might have to use this for court eventually. What we're going to talk about today is something I thought I'd never have to talk about. My operations manager, many of you may have seen him in previous videos. I thought he was going to be my right-hand man for the entirety of the company. I thought he was the best employee. He's seen me fire a lot of people, and he saw how they took it, and he always seemed like he'd be a better person. I've come to learn that he was the worst kind of person. And we're going to get into the story time, and there is going to be a learning lesson for this video. This is going to be the dark side of employees, the pros and the cons, and the lessons that I've learned from employees, and realize that employees will always be one of the most difficult parts of a business. It's always going to be. After you get profitable and after you build the business and you start getting leads and you conquer all of those difficult things in business, the next most difficult thing of building a business is going to be employees. That's why there's departments dedicated to HR. You hear lots of successful entrepreneurs talk about this. Ooh, it's actually, I thought it was colder, but it's getting hot. So, this is a video I'm not happy to make, and it ended horribly. In my mind, I was like, if I ever do have to let somebody go, I know he's gonna leave the most reasonable. No, he got vengeful, vindictive, hateful, insane, psychotic. He checked off every box. It's a big learning lesson, and it makes for an insane story. We'll talk about the mistakes of what I would have done differently, what you can take from this, and what you can learn from this. If you don't want to hear the story, you just want to hear the learning lessons and the pros and the cons of employees, you can skip to the end of the video. Very important fact that I forgot to tell you guys is I had demoted him from operations manager, and it wasn't a demotion. I told him it was only temporary until we get a third truck or I sell the business, because it wasn't making sense to keep him as ops manager with only 2 trucks. It was cutting into my bottom line too much. much. So he was already pissed about that. I explained the facts. He started in July as operations manager, and then in November, sometime in November, I had to put him back on the truck, and I told him it was only temporary. He sent me this email about how he felt so disrespected, not valued, that he had to go back on the truck, and his wife was equally as pissed. Let's dive into the story. It starts November 21st, midday, 2 days before Thanksgiving. No, I'm just kidding. He calls me and he tells me him and his wife are having marital problems and that she ran off with the company MacBook and the cash box, which at the time had $2,369 inside it. He told me not to worry and that she's just freaking out and she didn't want him to work for me anymore. I guess he told me that the position of ops manager was just too stressful because he feels like he's working every day and it's constant stress. Handling operations is a completely different ballgame than just clocking in Monday through Friday and then your brain is off. He was always worrying about the business because he was trying to help me run operations to grow so that we can get a third truck and I could increase his pay, and he was really going to be a part of this business. And he was like taking phone calls on the weekends and helping on the weekends, taking the phones and putting out fires when they happen, trucks break down, whatever. I'm like, okay, this is not good, but he told me not to worry. She's not going to steal the money. She's not crazy. She's just freaking out. And I guess she ripped his workstation, his entire workstation, ripped everything Jedi. He had his whole desk set up with the MacBook and all this Jedi stuff, Jedi gear, Star Wars stuff that he's found from jobs, and had it all decked out. And it was really cool. He'd send me photos. He'd be all excited about the little workstation that he had set up. And I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. And his wife destroyed it. I'm like, okay, let me know. I'll get the cash from you tomorrow. So there was $2,369 inside the cash box. And then there was like $500 and something inside of the truck in the brown binder. $3,000 in total that I was waiting to pick up. I usually pick up the cash at the end of the week every week, right? The operations manager, he lives 30 minutes away. I've been paying him to leave the trucks at the ops manager house. He makes extra money. I pay him every month to park the trucks in front of his house. So the employees would meet at his house every morning, even on his days off. He wouldn't have to do anything. He'd just leave the keys outside in the truck. But the employees would go to his house, grab the truck. He had extra parking and he made extra money from it. On the days that he works, he'd come out of his house, meet the employees, and the trucks were parked about 10 feet from his door. And like clockwork, when it's his schedule, 6 a.m., we start at 6 a.m. He's never missed a day. He's never called in sick. He shows up all the time. 6 a.m. rolls around. He's not picking up. He's not answering the phone. Can't get a hold of him. Just vanished. So my other employee goes there, and it's now, I think, like 6:30 or 7. And I'm like, okay, just knock on his door. Just ask where he's at. I'm panicking a little because literally the day before, he said that his wife destroyed everything, that she doesn't want him to work with me anymore. She destroyed his office, is throwing a temper tantrum, ran off with my MacBook and my cash box. Add all those things up. The next morning, I'm like, okay, everything's gonna be fine. Let's just figure out where he's at. The wife doesn't know where he's at. So we're freaking out. Around 10 a.m., he texts me and says he's in the hospital. He sends me this text message. Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm in the hospital. I couldn't breathe and I have your cash. And he sends me a photo of all the cash. Obviously, I say, dude, don't even worry about it. I'll get the cash later. Just call me or tell me when everything is okay. I asked him what hospital he's at. He doesn't respond till a few hours later. He borrowed some dude's phone because I guess his phone was dead. I don't know. So he tells me the hospital's name. I call the hospital to check his condition because I can't get a hold of him later in the day. I'm trying to go visit him to make sure he's okay. The hospital that I called said there's no record of him checking in at all. And I said, is this an anonymous or is this a private thing where you can't tell me? Like, I just want to make sure my friend is okay. I want to come check in on him. There was no record of him there ever at that hospital. I'm a little weirded out, but I let it go. Thanksgiving's the next day. I just don't worry about any of this anymore. We'll deal with it on Monday. Thanksgiving comes around. This is where shit gets wild. He calls me on Thanksgiving, 5 o'clock during dinner to yell at me. I kid you not. I did not yell at him. I just said, dude, I hope you're okay. I'm making sure you're okay. I didn't care about the cash at the point. I was gonna go check in on him. He starts screaming at me. I cannot make this up. He said, Andrew, how dare you cross the line? He told me I crossed the line. I was like, what the are you talking about, bro? He's like, my wife and children were there all by themselves and you had your employees knock on my door. And I was just blown away. I was confused. The only thing I could think, this started doing drugs or some shit because we have been going to his house every day. We've been paying for parking at his house. He's been meeting with employees. He's been doing operations manager. I don't know, maybe stress overload, but he called me and started screaming at me because the employee knocked at the door to see where my operations manager was, where he lives 10 feet away, and he went out drinking with these guys. They became friends at this point. They were on the truck 24/7 together, and I had him knock on the door to see where he was. And the wife was pissed. And then he started like going off on me about, you think my wife stole the money? No. The employee asked if the cash box was there because your wife apparently ran off with the MacBook and the cash box. So he starts screaming at me about how I crossed the line. And this is where I lost it. I said, you're fired. You're done. You crossed the line. And we're screaming at each other. And he starts texting me all this bullshit. I'm going to come over there. We're going to talk. And I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know where he was. I didn't know what was going on. So I start to panic and freak out about all my stuff. I panicked for the right reasons because he did exactly what I thought he would do. I went down there to get my trucks. I called the police to be safe. He would always talk about, where he's from, like gangster stuff, like just like how hard he used to be back in the day. I'm not trying to get stabbed. I have a family. I'm not trying to get in a fist fight. I call the police, show up to have the police go get my keys, the cash box, go get everything. The $3,000 cash he denies having, and I get the trucks, thankfully. When I get home, I realize the laptop, the phone, and the cash box and the credit cards are missing. He went on a shopping spree on Amazon, Dick's Sporting Good, and Ralph's Groceries. Okay, Ralph's Groceries, I understand. Get your last set of groceries that you need. When the cops left, we were arguing in the streets. He's like, consider the cash my severance. Fortunately, have any of this on film. And I didn't realize that he racked up the business credit cards about $1,600 until like a few days later. The next day, I went to the storage unit to get all the power tools. I had a $1,000 Boss jackhammer. I had two other $300 Roto hammers. I had a whole Milwaukee set of tools, which are $200. Easily $3 to $5 grand of power tools. All gone. MacBook gone. iPhone gone. Everything gone. Easily 10 grand of stuff. I got royally screwed by my operations manager. And here's the sad thing is he is now working at another junk removal company, I believe. They don't know that they just hired somebody that will literally steal from you because you get fired. I'm not gonna lie, that was a rough month for me because I was also paying him $6,000 a month as an operations manager when I really shouldn't have been paying an operations manager. 2 trucks does not justify a business owner hiring an operations manager. There's just not enough margin there to work with. It was to make my business sellable so it runs itself, and with the intentions of launching a 3rd truck. I don't ever talk like this. I'm usually a positive guy, but a lot of you guys in the comments said I always only post good, positive content. And that's why I posted this video here, the dark side of junk removal. A lot of people in the comments and Facebook groups are like, all you YouTubers only show the positive. Even my girl, she watches YouTubers, these girls like who vlog their life with their family and their kids and they're vlogging. And she's like, I hate it because they always just act like everything's so perfect. There's never no problems. And it's true. Business is not rainbows and butterflies. It is a constant, never-ending fire that you're constantly trying to put out. You put out one fire, another fire comes. It is mentally draining. You have to be mentally strong to handle being in business. Gary Vaynerchuk says it very well. Being an entrepreneur is like being a firefighter. A business firefighter is nowhere near the extremes of firefighting, I know, but mentally, it's draining. Constantly trying to make payroll, employees stealing from you, the legal ramifications of business just in general with permits, licenses, tax code, and just scaling in general. That's the price you pay. Ultimately, if you're trying to be a real business owner and eventually be off the truck completely so you can travel and your business runs itself, to get financial freedom, to achieve those things, there's sacrifices in other areas, and business is tough. Is it rewarding? Absolutely. I mean, you could say this about anything. I'm assuming every athlete who has became the world's best, had to suffer in his own ways, and it's probably rewarding, but he probably had to suffer. The point is anything that comes good requires suffering. Anything that's hard and is earned and worked for is respected. I did file for a restraining order because he texted me from 4 or 5 different numbers, and he was threatening to get all of the employees that were fired to come after me for payroll stuff. This is another thing with W-2 guys. If you get some vindictive people, he's trying to go after the employee labor board, saying I didn't hire them properly, never paid them their pay. Some bullshit that is untrue, and just trying to destroy me. He was threatening to take down my Ventura locations, like kind of insinuating that he was going to slash my tires and destroy my business. He was basically threatening me in every possible way. So I filed a restraining order. The lady who denied my restraining order, she didn't even listen to anything or any of the other restraining order cases in there. She just didn't take it serious. You need some serious hard evidence that they're gonna come after you and keep harassing you. I tried to explain that. I even had the text messages, and she just didn't care. So got denied the restraining order, even though he threatened to bring me down. I also filed for small claims for up to the maximum limit in California. Small claims, 10,000. My small claims case is in 3 days from now. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. I'll probably lose that too. But I do have the credit card statements of him racking up the credit cards. The cash is probably gone. He just got away with that. Power tools, probably just got away with that. But anyways, I want to get into the learning lessons. Let's talk about what I learned and what I'd probably do differently. So let's start with the obvious one is I will no longer keep everything in a manager's possession. As far as the trucks go, no longer will I have trucks ever parked at an operation manager's house. I will always make sure it's at a gated storage unit, or I'm renting from another person, somebody unassociated with the business, so that if I ever have to fire somebody, all of my stuff is there and it's safe, and I can go there to collect the cash every single day from the cash box. That would be number one. I will never leave possessions with operation managers again. Number two, now I see why companies make you sign out for equipment and sign it back in when they return it. So I will have a piece of paper that says the value of the laptop, the value of the phone, the value of all of the equipment in the storage unit, everything that is in his possession. Well, the storage unit, technically it was in the storage unit, but the storage unit was in his name. I had him set it up, and the storage unit was close to him. So next time I won't make that mistake. I'll have the storage unit next to me for storing everything. So if they need all the tools, and I won't have the operations manager set up the storage unit. Dumb mistake on my part. Too much trust of having everything in his possession right next to him. But when it comes to equipment that they must have, that is at their house, is going to be equipment sign-out sheets where you have the value and how much it costs to replace if they lose it, and their signature. I'll go to the notary with them and just have them notarize. If you're giving a $1,500, $2,000 MacBook or a $1,000 iPhone, now, I won't do expensive equipment like this again, but you need to have those sheets where people sign in and sign out of the equipment they're checking in and checking out if you guys get to the level of operations managers. So more formal paperwork is a big lesson I learned. As far as the credit card thing goes, there's not much you can do about the credit cards because you have to have a credit card in the truck, but I will never, ever recommend Ramp credit card again. They still have not reimbursed me for the credit card expenses. I will always and forever make sure that I get an Amex somehow, because an Amex is always on the customer side. So get an Amex business card. If there's ever fraud, an employee steals it, they reimburse you immediately. Most good credit card companies reimburse you immediately. Ramp, which I recommended in a previous video for business credit cards and making it easy to issue employee credit cards. It has been 2 months now. I'm still the $1,600 in the hole from his little Amazon shopping spree. So those are the quick learning lessons that I will always make sure to do. And guys, I remind you to make sure you hire properly, background check, employee applications, employee manual. Make sure to use Checker or Clear Checks for background checks, and make sure to do things formal, by the book. Make sure you have equipment check-in, check-out sheets, and if they retain that property, they hold on to that property, like phones or whatever at their house, a business phone, a business laptop. Make sure that you have paperwork that shows they signed it out. So when you do go to court, you have that paperwork. that is what I've learned, and there might be more, but that's all I can think about off the top of my head right now. Let's talk about the benefits of employees and the benefits of no employees. Here's the thing, guys. There's people out there who want to keep it simple. Ricardo from Junk Guys will never do employees again. There's a lot of people out there who just don't want to deal with this, and that's fine. But remember, with no employees, there are benefits. You don't have to worry about payroll, especially during the winter. You're going to always worry, like, am I going to have enough work? Unless you get to that level where you start getting so busy, but that's going to take a couple, 2-3 years until you're really like at that level where you're busy enough to not worry about, are you going to have enough money to pay them their payroll? Payroll was always a huge worry in the beginning. Your margins are going to be worse. You're going to have payroll. You're going to have W-2 payroll tax. You're going to have workers' compensation. Of course, employees complain. You're going to get shitty employees. You're going to have to hire. You're going to have to fire. You're going to have to worry about employees threatening you and all kinds of bullshit that comes with it. But realize with no employees, guys, you're stuck forever where you're at. So if you're okay with doing 300K gross, 150K of a profit, you are gonna have to have one employee. You can't do the jobs by yourself forever. Ricardo from Junk Guys, I mean, he's a great friend of mine, and he's gonna be at the event coming up. He likes where he's at, and he's perfectly happy with that. I don't know what his plan is with the company, but he can't scale it or grow it. He gets his leads forever for free because he's been on Google for 16 years, and he's got 4,100 YouTube videos, so he forever gets free leads. But he's capped at what he can earn per year forever for the entirety of his company. And if he wanted to sell it, if he was growing it for the last 10 years, it would be worth millions to sell. But he'd also have to deal with the headaches of employees and running a large business. He also gets the peace of mind that it's just simple. It's just his. There's nothing else he has to worry about. When he gets big jobs, he splits it with other companies. There's peace and serenity in that. He can't quit. He can't take a break. He can't go on vacation for 3 weeks. He'll lose money. There's nobody there to work for him. So there's a lot of restrictions. Like, it's a forever job. Not having employees has its benefits as a solopreneur, an owner operator. It's really just your own job that you've created, versus the benefit of employees is you can grow, you can scale. You can get to a level of where you finally have enough employees working for you to where you can leave for a month and your business is still running. But with that freedom comes more responsibility in a different way. You are dealing with employee nightmares, and they happen. You can get good at it. You can get good at dealing with employees. You can get good at dealing with these situations. You can become a better leader. You can become a person that's respected. You can become a person that they want to work for. I'm learning this, and I'm hoping to transfer the skills I've learned from here to dispatch. Building culture is something I really didn't do. And I am going to make sure I build culture in my new company. I'm going to try to be the best leader that they want to work for. I want them to be inspired to work for me. It's kind of hard right now because it's just me, my business partner, and a couple other engineers that are remote. But as we grow and start actually getting employees and we get an office eventually, that is my goal. With that being said, this is more story time. If you guys want more crazy stories, I probably have a lot more. I just got to think of other crazy stories. But if you liked the negative Nancy side of things and you want to hear more stories, good stories, bad stories, comment down below. Let me know, because I was a little worried about making this video. I didn't want to scare you guys off and make you think I'm negative Nancy, but this is the reality. People were telling me I'm posting too much positive content, so here's some negative content for you guys, okay? All you haters in the comments, comment down below. Troll me if you want. Love me if you want. Like, subscribe. And hey guys, thank you so much for being a part of me on this journey. I can't wait to bring some more awesomeness to you. And as always, I leave you with this. Success is often covered in dirt, but so was gold at one point. Toodles! Let's tell you my story real quick. I've always been a software engineer my entire life. I started programming when I was 10 years old. But I started with HTML on AOL 3.0, and they would teach you basic HTML tags. So I was learning this shit at 10 or 11 years old. Then I just slowly progressed and started building more websites, learning PHP, learning databases like MySQL and all that stuff. The last app that I was working on was a travel app. I raised $150,000 from investors, and that was actually right before COVID hit. It was a travel app meant to travel with friends across the world, the globe, and they didn't even want you to hang out with your family. I kept telling the investors, it's gotta go away someday. I have the app semi-ready to go. You know, we wanted to start doing beta testing, but nobody wanted to fly, let alone pay for this new experimental travel app that I was trying to show to the world. Me and my lady had our second kid, newborn, and we're burning down to our last few $1,000s. And it's getting to a point where I'm like, we need money now. So one of my friends I was talking to, and he's like, dude, I used to do junk removal. I looked into it, I Googled it, I found Sonoma Strong, $1,000 a day, Steve Conroy, $1,000 a day, $2,000 a day. And I was like, $1,000 a day. Started with Thumbtack, started with Craigslist, got to Google Ads probably by month one or like the end of month one, month two, I think. Went from 200 a day to 500 a day to 1,000 a day. From there, it's just been incredible.
This is a great industry. If you're stuck and you need to figure out how to make some extra money, you can grow this into a very profitable business. You can do very well for yourself. I'm doing very well for myself. It takes a lot of work outside of the labor part, the marketing part, the hiring part. Everything is hard. It has potential. It is a very easy-ish, predictable path to make money.
The service industry is so much easier to get into because it requires just your time, and everybody's gonna need this service, okay? You trade your time for money. It doesn't matter if it's landscaping, moving, junk removal. There are so many home services that you can get into that don't require a skill. People need this home service. So getting into the services business is a very safe, predictable, slow growth path, but very doable. That is the beautiful thing about junk removal.
So guys, if you want to check out the course and you want your A to Z on how to build a junk removal business, check it out in the link below.
Just another sunny